Welcome back to Cow Park Bros. Jason and I are fresh off the first segment regarding multiple sports teams and updating their COVID protocols. And the second segment, we're going to be talking about food. And no, not what Jason and I had to eat today, but more just talking about the fact that it's more expensive um, to provide for your family, whether that's a family of one or a family of six or what have you. And I'm referencing an article from CNN from Danielle Wiener for CNN Business. Bad news for American consumers. It's getting more expensive to dine out and it's getting more expensive to eat at home. Restaurant prices spiked 5.8% over the 12 months ending in November without seasonal adjustments. There's a Bureau of Labor Statistics said Friday. That's the largest 12-month increase since the year ended in January 1982. And unfortunately, for those hoping to curb spending by turning to home cooking, grocery prices are also at record highs. They jumped 6.4%, the largest 12-month increase since December 2008. Beef had the most dramatic increase with a 20.9% spike in prices. Now, Jason, what are your thoughts on why that's happening?
So we just talked about football and basketball. So you know what that means? I'm punting. I want to hear your opinion because, in all seriousness, I want to hear your opinion on this because, as you kind of hinted in the beginning, whether you're a family of one or a family of five or six, and I agree with you, prices are up for everybody. But as somebody who is only a family of one compared to you, who has a larger household between beings that have two legs and four, I would love to hear your opinion on this in regards to what you've seen just in the last 12 months, like this article mentions. What you've seen and noticed over the last 12 months when it comes to increasing food prices, either in grocery or in restaurants.
Well, one, Jason, I think a lot of these restaurants are making up for the lost revenue of the last 2 years.
Good point.
So it does not surprise me that pricing for restaurants has gone up over the last year.
It's that economy boost that they all wanted when it comes to this, all those stimulus checks we got. You know, first of all, I mean, of course, when it comes to that, we're going to have price increases in general when it comes to everything. Right? But it makes even more sense that it's going to be when it comes to food. Because guess what? We all need food. We have to eat, right? Supply and demand. So whenever we want to see price increases, it's going to be food. Gas as well. Also, we see increase in gas prices, although they're coming down, but still. So to me, I agree with you. It makes total sense that this is why it's up. Um, you mentioned the 12-month increases. There are like record highs from grocery shopping going back to 2008 and then 1982 when it comes to restaurant prices. 1982, bro. We were only 1 year old at that point. Only one, baby Terrence. But just some additional numbers in that. Just further down that same article, they mentioned some things that have gone up in that 12-month time frame. And it's a combination of produce and meat. Lettuce went up almost 7%. Fresh fruit 2%. Oranges, tangerines specifically 2.4%. Uh, fresh coffee cakes and donuts jumped 3.5%. Go figure. Also, when it comes to meat, I mentioned pork 2%. Breakfast sausages 2.7, hot dogs 2.8, pork roast and steaks and ribs 3.7. Although beef apparently went up 20%. I found those numbers quite interesting as when it comes to all the stuff they mentioned, it was all pretty much around that 2-3% range, which is still a lot of money. But beef specifically went up 20%. So yeah, people buying more beef. Hashtag where's the beef? We all ate it. That's what it is. So not me obviously, but yeah, still people ate it. Um, Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. Just when it comes to that 2 years, yeah, although when it comes to the food prices, like I mentioned before, we had to eat. So people were still eating in those last 2 years. Right? Even though we're in a bubble, still people still had to go to the grocery store. Maybe restaurants, maybe not so much because obviously they were closed. But I guess with the grocery prices, more maybe those supply chain issues when it comes to certain things. Because again, we were still eating grocery stores. The grocery store lines are full, out the door in some cases. Have all the people in there and everybody at the distance. So definitely people were buying that. So I really think personally, again, me and you aren't economists or anything. So, um, but I think it's really just more of the economy boom when it comes to all the stimulus checks floating around and one is suspended. Combination of when it comes to restaurants, like you said, not getting powerful enough revenue over the 2 year time frame because of lots of different things. Um, yeah, and it's really just supply and demand. We got to eat, we got to buy gas, so it's gonna go up.
Yeah, I think it's all related. I think the fact that it's much harder for goods and services to number one be produced, number two actually sold is being factored into this as well.
Very true. So with that, well, I guess I can't say that. I was gonna say perhaps we might be in store for a price decrease in the next 12 months. Like what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be next November? But I guess I don't have to wait and see because we don't know what we're gonna be dealing with next year when it comes to pretty much everything we just talked about. So um, I know there's still stimulus checks going out to certain people. So um, don't know if that's going to affect anything when it comes to is it going to go up, stay where it's at now, go back to where it is, or where it was. I don't know. Um, but I think that'll be very interesting to see over the next 12 months. Is going to be as significant of an increase? Is it going to be 3% again on everything else? Is beef going to be another 20%? Um, I honestly kind of want to say, as I'm sitting here thinking about it and talking it out, that we're probably going to be at the same space next year when it comes to increases. You know, just from that continued
Right.
inflation. Um,
Yeah.
and a supply and demand, and that's still the same. Even restaurants too. The article mentions that McDonald's and Chipotle, and I'm sure that they're not alone. They both mentioned that despite their admitted price increases, they've had sales growth over that last 12 months as well. So people are still going out and buying it. As far as restaurants, anyway, which you would think they wouldn't, right? But the convenience is still there for restaurants in some cases if it's fast food like McDonald's and Chipotle, or even though Chipotle is fast casual, as we found out a couple episodes ago. But but yeah, so even with the price increases, even those restaurants, things that people don't have to do, still going up, still making that money. Mickey D's is still on top.
Yeah. I think another thing to consider though, Jason, is that yeah, Mickey D's is on top, but if it takes your family as a whole gen- to to even compile what you need for um, meals, whether you're eating out or whether you're shopping for groceries, then it's kind of hard to get ahead. You're kind of fucked either way. There is no. There have been several times when I know from my situation where I wonder, okay, yeah, on paper it's less expensive to shop for the shit and then just cook it. I'm like, yeah, number one, I may not always be in a position to do that. And then number two, I'm like, I'm getting hit then and I'm getting hit later.
What do you mean?
So it means, well, if it's more expensive, if it's more expensive to to order takeout and also groceries in general are more expensive, then you're kind of screwed either way. It's like, okay, you're not gonna really see like a a benefit if your one benefit might be time. because you're not actually having to do the cooking, but you're still paying. You're still paying through the nose. You're just doing it in a different cadence. You're just doing it in a different way.
One of your favorite words, cadence. But no, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's all about choice, I guess. Whatever works for a particular household, as far as financially at least. That's what we're talking about. Not talking about anything else. You're right. Financially, it could be better to do one or the other. Convenience is always going to be a factor. That's why fast food and fast casual exists. Convenience, you know. Um, so yeah, and obviously the demand's not going to stop, because like the article mentioned, sales growth numbers are up. People are buying it at record highs. Um, but but again, that's even still more interesting too. Well, I guess it depends on where you're going. But I still find it even more interesting too because obviously we talked about the what's I can't remember what it's called, the great, but I can't think of the phrase. It's a phrase I love so much. But basically, um, the Great Resignation. That's what it is. Thank you. People quitting their jobs at record numbers, and obviously the unemployment is what it is. But yet people are still, you know, going to certain restaurants that are definitely more expensive than going to the grocery store. So I don't know. It's I just find that interesting when it comes to that certain restaurants still see sales growth. I don't know, but is what it is. Um, but yeah, man. So it's interesting to see how this all works when it comes to economics, economy. Everything's going up. Certain things are down. But like we mentioned in the first topic, first segment, companies need money.
When you say things are down, what do you mean by that?
Employment, things like that. Like I said, the Great Resignation, people leaving their jobs. I mean, they may be leaving to do something else that's making them money. But I don't know if we've still recovered from that period of time to when, again, we talked about it again on another previous episode when it comes to all these people out here, not job shortages, but work shortages. You know, people weren't working. You know, so I don't know if we've recovered from that or not. Again, not an economist, but that's what I meant by things are down. At least at that point they were down, and I haven't really heard about it being fully back yet. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I think much like there's definitely been some inflation in terms of paying for certain items. Me being a homeowner and buying a home a year ago, definitely noticing the average price of things going up for certain goods and certain services, especially in scenarios where those goods are limited.
oh yeah, that's a whole other topic when it comes to prices, like home prices and stuff like that. So, home accessories. But yeah, mark that down for episode 37.
Or not.
That and the in-home testing. There you go. There's two topics for episode 37. People, maybe.
Yep, yep. Those are good. Those are good to go with. All right. That concludes our segment on the increasing prices for food. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the box office numbers for movies such as Spider Man No Way Home. Coming up next on Cow Park Bros.